How has Ciara affected the way you write then? Because, well, now you have another brain to work with in a way.
Like, me and Ciara are a perfect tag team. I couldn't work with anyone else as closely as I do with Ciara. She really encourages me within my own songwriting, and she's always pushed me to be more and more honest. And she's one of the main reasons why I started being really sort of vulnerable and really sort of open with everyone within my songs because of her. She said, you know, people need to believe you and you need to stop hiding. And having her around, just she writes a lot of the music, so she really encourages me to just sit down in a room on my acoustic guitar and just write everything raw. Like, she loves it when I bring a song to her just from my acoustic, because she always says that the songs are so much better.
Well, because I was gonna ask how much the music that she makes kind of influences what you write, but you try to separate that then.
Well, sometimes we do. The majority of the time we do. We work in different ways, but we work together in the end, and then that's what sort of makes the magic.
Right.
But sometimes I do just sit down at a laptop, just hear what she's sort of created, and then, you know, I'll give my suggestions and my input and the guitars, and then things will maybe come to me, and if they don't, I'll take it to the acoustic.
And there are 4 songs on the EP, and I think 3, if I'm not mistaken, 3 have been released now. So I'd like to talk about the 4th one.
Yeah, Heavenly.
Heavenly. What was the beginning of that song for you?
I'm trying
What
to
kind
think.
of sparked it?
That was, so The Tide was the first song that we ever wrote as a band, and then Heavenly was the second one.
Okay.
So it's really sort of strange having, you know, 2 of our earliest songs on an EP with New Year's Eve, which is quite recent.
Right.
We've had My Obsession for a while, but nothing compared to them 2. So it feels like not old pale waves, because, you know, we're always going to be pale waves, but 18-year-old pale waves versus sort of 21-year-old pale waves.
Can you hear that when you listen back to the record?
Well, I've had this discussion with fans because they've asked me that, and I've like been interested to hear what they think.
Right.
And a lot of them say that they can't, but for me, I guess because I'm the songwriter, I can hear within the song that, you know, I'm younger just by the way I've wrote it, which isn't a bad thing. I love how those 2 songs are really sort of vulnerable and naive compared to My Obsession, which seems a lot more mature.
In terms of the theme then, what was the basis for the lyrics?
Heavenly.
Yes.
I think it was just, I'm trying to remember because I wrote it such a long time ago. I think I just wrote it about somebody who's sort of really confident and, you know, I found attractive and interesting.
Let me ask it differently then, because I don't want you to have to explain the entire song.
Yeah.
But what mindset were you in when you wrote it? Do you have to be in a certain mindset when you write?
It depends. I guess you can't really force yourself to be in a mindset when you write. You just kind of sit down, and I tend to, when I'm writing, I know when I'm going to write something good because my emotions are a mess, basically. That's when I'm probably at my best with songwriting, because when I feel sort of really trapped and closed in, that's when I really sort of reveal everything in music. So I guess you can know sometimes when something special is going to come out, but a lot of the time I've just sat down because, you know, I've needed to write because we've got an album to write. Right. And sometimes I might not be feeling inspired, but then something amazing will just happen. So it's really unpredictable. Okay. It just sort of, I can't really say. Right. You just write and then you see what comes out of your head.
See what happens.
Yeah.
You mentioned the debut album.
Yeah.
And then you've been writing quite a bit for it. And you said in other interviews that you've noticed that it's gone a bit darker. Do you know why?
I guess what we've put out so far has been singles. So by that I meant that within, you know, a 13 track or however many tracks you want to put on an album, you have the room to sort of express yourself in more diverse ways. You know, you don't have to write a single. You can write a 5-minute track with a bit of vocal here and there, and you can really show other sides to your band or you, and that's what I really love about the album, because I think people are really gonna be taken back by the sides that they've never heard from Pale Waves before. I really love writing darker songs, and not a lot of people have heard them yet. So yeah, I'm very excited for the world to hear that.
So finally then, and this is gonna sound a bit silly maybe, but how important is that debut record?
It is very important. It's probably the biggest step of our career. You know, the first album that anyone puts out it's the first sort of body of work that you have to just push out to the world. It's a sort of very first, obviously you have the representations of you through EPs and singles, but the album is the album. You know, it has to be right, and we're doing everything we can so far to make sure that it's the best that it can be.
Is there a bit of pressure because of kind of the, like I mentioned, the buzz around it?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, there is pressure, but it sort of encourages you. So it's good and bad, but I don't mind it. I don't like to think about it too much, because
Fair enough.
it messes with my mind.
Fair enough. Heather, thank you very much for your time.
Oh, thank you.